courtesy of Bevan, VK5BD's ATV channel and YouTube channel. VK1 WIA National News, wireless weather and radio sport is next.
From Australia, this is the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on wia.org.au.
The national news for week commencing January 9, 2022 it is. I'm Graham, VK4BB. Roger Harrison, VK2ZRH, manager for the Hfuhf Field Days, joins us. Trent Sampson and a brand new WIA contest kicks off in just a few days. WIA President Scott VK3KJ with Board Talk. And a very well-known and respected ham becomes silent key. This and more in this edition of news from the Wireless Institute of Australia. The Australian Army is working to simplify some areas of its radio communications through the help of a collaborative effort with Microsoft. The program relies on artificial intelligence, or AI, to automate communications transcription and analysis. The military is hoping the end result will be greater situational awareness and a higher level of tactical decision-making. A report by the Microsoft News Centre said the first priority will be the analysis of radio voice communications, providing searchable text transcripts that military commanders can refer to and glean enhanced situational awareness to assist in their decision-making. Part of that effort is to use AI to identify sender, recipient and other key message parameters, which will help sort out the transcription process properly. Brigadier Ian Langford, Director General of the Future Land Warfare Branch, told Microsoft employing artificial intelligence tools through a reliable, secure and resilient platform to consolidate battlefield communications is an important step towards the creation of a decision support engine to create decision advantage in the future. Now on WIA News, WIA President Scott Williams.
Thanks, Graham, and a belated Happy New Year to all listeners of the WIA broadcast. This is WIA President Scott Williams, VK3KJ, and welcome to the first broadcast for 2022 and hopefully what will be a safe, healthy, prosperous and productive year ahead after what was a very challenging 2021. As I'm recording this message, the news has just broken of the huge increase in Omicron cases, particularly in New South Wales and Victoria, with steady increases reported in other states and territories. Let's hope we can find ways to manage the spread of this horrible pandemic and in particular see a reduction in those hospitalised and tragically those people that have lost their lives. On to a more positive note, the WIA is delighted to announce the introduction of a new contest for 2022, which will be called the Wia Australia Day Contest. The contest will be held on Wednesday the 26th of January 2022 and will follow a format very similar to the Remembrance Day contest. The contest gets underway at midnight on 25 January on the East Coast and extends until midnight on the West Coast, Daylight Saving Time, a 27-hour contest. Initially, it will be a trial contest with feedback and comments welcome before the contest is finalised as a permanent part of the yearly contest calendar. Information on the contest is currently on the WIA website and is available across WIA social media platforms. The WIA would like to thank Alan Shannon, VK4SN, and Trent Sampson, VK4TS, for presenting the concept to the WIA board and for all their work in pulling the contest together. I also want to congratulate all of those individuals that participated in the WIA DX leaderboard for 2021. The leaderboard closed on 31st December 2021 for the 2021 year, and it was wonderful to see so many people participating and a close race at the top in most categories. Don't forget, you have up until the last day of the month preceding the AGM to get contacts confirmed before the award winners are announced. Finally, board nominations for 2022 will close on 31st of January 2022. Should you wish to join the board of the WIA, information can be found on the WIA website or was included in the last edition of the AR magazine. That's it for me this week. I hope everybody stays safe and well and my very best wishes to everybody for 2022. Kind regards, Scott, VK3KJ.
Thanks, Scott. Now, Trent has actually filed a story on that new contest, so to Trent in a moment. But then wait. Remember, Bruce Defaults has advised the WIA office in Bayswater will reopen in the new year on Wednesday, January 19. Now, well, here's Trent, VK4TS, to tell all and sundry of the new WIA contest here on Australia's largest listener-based ham radio news service.
The Wia Australia Day Contest on the 26th of January 2022. This is a trial contest and it has a few quirks. The rules are derived from the RD, so you can think of it as a summer RD. Alan, VK4SN, and I brainstormed the concept and presented it to the WIA board only last week. They were able to turn out the approval within days, so positive was the feedback. The nitty-gritty, the contest rules are as per the RD, but it starts midnight on the 25th of January on the East Coast and extends until midnight on the West Coast, daylight saving time. Dust off those fancy 2x1 call signs and be ready for a heap of different calls on the bands. Remember, any VK prefix call can take AX on Australia Day. We are also locking in Anzac Day, April 25th, for a repeat performance. 7-3, this has been Trent, AX4T.
This is Roger Harrison, VK2ZRH, manager for the Hfuhf Field Days. I have sad news this morning. Some of you may have already heard that Mike, VK3 Alpha Victor Victor, developer of the popular VKCL logging program, passed away last week after a long battle with cancer. Undoubtedly, the wider amateur fraternity will miss Mike's particular skills, especially those contesters who have benefited from his logging programs over the past 20 years. Mike was an enthusiastic supporter for the Hfuhf Field Days, especially joining the multi-operator team of VK3 Echo Romeo from the Eastern and Mountain District Amateur Radio Club. Vale Mike, VK3 Alpha Victor Victor. The 2022 summer Hfuhf Field Day is scheduled for next weekend, the 15th and 16th of January. It will go ahead as planned. As a mark of respect for Mike VK3AVV, I ask that participants observe 1 minute silence at the opening of the contest. That is, in VK1, VK2, VK3, VK4, VK5, VK7 and VK8, it will commence at 0101 UTC. In VK6 it will commence at 0401 UTC. Following the contest, would participants please send your logs to the WIA online log uploader in the usual way. In the meantime, I am endeavouring to retrieve the 2021 spring event logs to proceed with log checking to determine the results. Results will also be posted to the WIA website in due course. This has been Roger Harrison, VK2ZRH for VK1 WIA News.
Now, international news with Jason, VK2LAW.
Yes, hello, and the international news, as always, is with thanks to IARU, RSGB, RAC, Southgate Amateur Radio Club, ARRL, NZART, EHAM, Amateur Radio Newsline, and the worldwide sources of the WIA. Commencing international news from Region 1, Comreg negotiations. On September 10th, 2021, Comreg published in Document 2190 inviting comments on their proposed strategy for managing the spectrum in the years 2022 to 2024 in Ireland. IRTS, that nation's national society, and a number of clubs as well as individual amateur licensees submitted comments. Comreg published an assessment of these comments on December 17th, 2021. Probably the biggest news is Comreg's change of position on the issue of novice or entry-level licences. They say that taking into account the support expressed for entry-level or novice licensing and the strong justifications given in the submissions, Comreg will seek, in the timeline of this strategy statement and subject to resources, to put in place a framework for novice licensing in Ireland. The Swedish Electrical Safety Agency has ruled that some SolarEdge optimizers and one string inverter from GrowWatt do not meet its electromagnetic compatibility requirements, halting their sale in that country. SolarEdge expressed surprise at the banning and claims that the complaints filed with the Electrical Safety Agency came from a handful of amateur radio operators. In news from Region 2, International Amateur Radio Union Region 2 Secretary George Gorslein, Victor Echo 3 Yankee Victor, has issued a year-end message on behalf of the Executive Committee. A bright spot in an otherwise challenging year is that our shared passion of amateur radio is growing stronger, Gorslein wrote. The increase in on-the-air activity has been noticeable, especially on the HF bands. Driven by reawakening solar activity and the rapid adoption of digital modes such as FT8, the bands are active, not just during evenings and weekends, but also during normal working hours, where more than a few of us have been known to be in video conference calls while making QSOs. Growth in activity and participation has not been limited to the HF bands. Use of VHF and UHF has also increased, not just for local nets but especially interest in satellite operations. Gorslein said the use of virtual learning has allowed many IARU member societies and affiliated clubs to conduct licensing classes and exams. Attracting new and younger amateurs is our future, said Gorslein. For 2022, the challenge to all of us is to not only enjoy our hobby, but also to share it with someone new. Gorslein challenged members of the amateur community to introduce someone to the many possibilities of amateur radio. Radio Amateurs of Canada announces new president. New Radio Amateurs of Canada, known as RAC President Phil A. McBride, Victor Alpha 3 Quebec Radio / Victor Alpha 3 Kilo Papa Juliet, took office on January 1. He was elected by the RAC Board of Directors. Phil succeeds Glenn McDonnell, Victor Echo 3 X-Ray Romeo Alpha, who served the maximum 3 consecutive 2-year terms in the RAC's top post. BBC News reports that 2 of the biggest US phone firms have agreed to a government request to delay the rollout of 5G services this week. The US Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg and the Federal Aviation Administration FAA made the request over concerns about aviation safety. Plane makers have warned that C-band Spectrum 5G wireless signals may interfere with sensitive aircraft electronics and could disrupt flights. AT&T and Verizon initially rejected the delay request before reversing. Chief executives had pushed back against a second delay request on Sunday, having already put plans on hold since late last year. They had also offered to mitigate service around US airports for 6 months as a temporary safeguard, along a similar approach adopted in France. For WIA National News, in Sydney, I'm Jason, VK2LAW.
This is the home service of the Wireless Institute of Australia through VK1WIA. Now operational news with Felix, VK4FUQ.
Thanks and hello from Ingham. New low power limit for ARRL HF contests. The ARRL has set a new standard for what counts as low power for ARRL sponsored HF contests. The new limit is 100 watts, which is down from the 150 watt limit that has been implemented in some events, including the ARRL November sweepstakes. With the exception of the ARRL Field Day, this change goes into effect on the 1st of January 2022 for all ARRL sponsored HF contests, as well as the IARU HF World Championship in July 2022. This change has been implemented to standardise low power categories within the contesting community. However, on a more practical level, the modern typical HF transceiver has a maximum power output of 100 watts. January this entire month is the WIA Ross Hull VHF UHF Marathon Contest. WIA VHF UHF Field Day Summer 2022. Saturday 15 January through to Sunday 16 January. WIA Contest Committee Chairman Alan Shannon, VK4SN, has released a 2022 contest calendar, focusing mainly on the popular VK and international contests. The URL to get the PDF is on both WIA Front Page News, wia.org.au, and here, in the text edition of your WIA News. Now, at time of getting this bulletin in shape, that new contest Trent VK4TS told us about at the top of this week's bulletin of news is not shown. but you can add it easily, so download the calendar now. Again, to refreshers, that new contest is to be known as the Wia Australia Day Contest on the 26th of January. This is a trial contest and has a few quirks. Again, here is Trent.
The nitty-gritty, the contest rules are as per the RD, but it starts midnight on the 25th of January on the East Coast and extends until midnight on the West Coast, daylight saving time. Dust off those fancy 2x1 call signs and be ready for a heap of different calls on the bands. Remember, any VK prefix call can take AX on Australia Day. 7-3, this has been Trent, AX4T.
Sounds a good one for January. Then in March it's the John Moyle Memorial Field Day. The JMMFD contest starts 0100 hours GMT on the 19th of March and concludes 0059 hours GMT on the 20th of March. Harry Angel Memorial 80-metre Sprint, Saturday, May 7th, 2022, 10 hours UTC to 11:46 UTC. VK Shires Contest 11 June 2022. WIA VHF UHF Field Days Winter 2022. 0200 hours UTC Saturday 25 June through to 0159 hours UTC Sunday 26 June. Dippers in VK 6. DX window. Tom, K8CX, has done it again. He has provided DXs with 314 memorable rare DX sound clips, now in MP3 format, from Ohio during 2021. This brings the total number of MP3 sound clips on Ham Gallery to 3,211. Visit Tom's famous Ham Gallery website, and while there, also check out some of the other features of his webpage, such as 24 years of rare DX sound clips of the past, as well as some clips from the 1960s and 70s, which includes all the major DX positions in rare DX heard on the bands. AX4WIT, almost there, once a year day. January 26, which is Australia Day and a Wednesday this year, Townsville Club will activate from their annual campout Blue Water Way. Blue Water, for the uninitiated, is about 30 kilometres from Townsville CBD. Georgia, 4L. 4L 9M plans an operation over the next 2 months, including the CQ Worldwide 160 metres CW and the CQ Worldwide 160 metres SSB contests. QSL via R3XA. Thailand. Brad, VK2BY will be active as HS0ZNR in northeastern Thailand until the 21st of January. And as well as QSL and direct to VK2BY, you can also QSL via Logbook of the World. 5H3EE from Tanzania has been heard and logged using FT8 on 12 metres. QSL using Club Log. In Kenya, 30 HB9 DSP plans to be on the air for its first expedition between January the 12th and 27th as 5Z4/HB9 DSP. Be listening on 20, 15 and 10 metres where we will be using SSB with some FT8. Send QSLs to his home call sign, direct, by the Bureau or LOTW. Listen for David, F8AAN, operating as FS/F8AAN from St Martin Island, Anguilla, until January 20 on 40 through 10 metres using CW. QSL using LOTW, Club Log or ReQSL. Danish special event. Danish radio amateurs will be celebrating the 50th anniversary of H.M. Margrethe II, the Queen of Denmark's accession to the throne, by activating the special event call sign OZ5OQ during the whole month of January 2022. Special award is available, see QRZ.com. QSL via OZ1ACB, EQSL or LOTW. All QSOs will be confirmed via LOTW and EQSL. BBC Centenary Special Event GB100 BBC. Members of the BBC's Radio Club, the London BBC Radio Group, have been granted an exceptional all-year special event call sign to help celebrate the BBC centenary year in 2022. Ofcom will permit GB100 BBC to operate throughout the year, starting at midnight on New Year's Day, from the headquarters station and broadcasting house, London. The new year is going to be a good one for members of the Irish Radio Transmitters Society. Hams will be using the special call sign EI90IRTS to mark the 90th anniversary of the founding of Ireland's National Society. Listen for the EI90IRTS call sign throughout 2022. QSL via EI6AL. Now from the DX window to awards. For the next 6 months, a new awards program will promote one of the world's most prominent radio events. It is known as the World Radio Sport Team Championship Award, designed to highlight what will now be the 2023 WRTC, as this year's Italian event in Marconi's birth city was rescheduled due to, wait, you've got it, COVID. It centres around making contacts between now and July the 10th with 100 radio operators in Italy using special WRTC call signs. There will be one WRTC call sign to each of Italy's 10 call areas, beginning with II1 WRTC. The award concludes during the IAA Hfuhf World Championship Contest on July 9 and 10, exactly a year before the WRTC takes place in 2023. For VK1WIA National News, I'm Felix, VK4FUQ Inningham.
From Australia, this is the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service, available on RF and on demand 24/7 from the wia.org.au website.
Alrighty, let's check our watches, both Intruder Watch and Media Watch. Czech radio switches off medium wave and long wave as 2022 starts. In the Czech Republic, at least the public broadcaster will stop transmitting on medium wave and long wave as the new year started last Saturday. The powerful transmitters on the frequency of 270, 639 and 954 kHz could also be received in large parts of Germany. The reason given for the move was the widespread availability of terrestrial digital radio DAB+, and the high costs of broadcasting. Those still listening using medium waves were to be persuaded to switch with a campaign. One radio station set up a telephone hotline to answer questions. It's not known whether the transmitters would be retained or used for other purposes. The antenna of the medium wave transmitter east of Prague is considered the highest structure in the Czech Republic, with a height of 355 metres. Impulse, the most listened to private radio station, wants to remain faithful to medium wave for the time being. It broadcasts its second program with pop and country music on analogue transmission. Now to Intruder Watch and the Enforcement Zone. Air Traffic Control of the Netherlands reports that the radio traffic of aircraft landing at Schiphol has been regularly disrupted in recent weeks. Music from the FM broadcast band caused the interference. This disturbance was on the frequency that ATC in the Netherlands, LVNL, uses to give instructions to approaching air traffic. After the deployment of the telecom agency, a broadcaster in Gelderland, was taken off the air at the end of last week. It concerned a licence holder who was allowed to transmit via FM but did not adhere to his rules. After the transmitter was shut down, there was no more disruption on the aviation band.
Now, Special Interest Group News with Bruce, VK3FFF.
Thanks, Trevor, VK4BAT, for the introduction. And we start this week with Defence. Townsville Amateur Radio Club will be involved with the 2022 Defence Welcome and Information Expo run by the Townsville office of Defence Community Organisation North Queensland, Saturday, the 12th of February at Murray Stadium from 10 a.m. The club is hoping to demonstrate the hobby through a mixture of static, dynamic and interactive displays, with members experienced in many facets of the hobby able to provide meaningful answers and guidance for those attending the expo. Worldwide Special Interest Group's Final Frontier. On Christmas Day, JWST launched successfully aboard its Ariane 5 from French Guiana. During its flight, the rocket performed a unique sawtooth maneuver, rotating back and forth 30 degrees to protect JSWT's instruments from overheating due to direct solar illumination, as opposed to Apollo's barbecue roll. After release, the spacecraft deployed its solar array. now beyond the orbit of the Moon, it has successfully performed 2 course corrections and deployed its gimbaled antenna assembly. Jonathan McDowell has a timeline of JWST's ongoing 30 Days of Terror deployment schedule on its way to L2. The Sunshield has started its multi-step deployment, and in about a week, mirrors will begin unfolding. Check in on its live mission dashboard to see where it is and what it's doing. Follow it on Twitter or watch NASA's Deep Space Network real-time dashboard to see active communications underway. CAMSAT XW3, CAS9 for short, was launched on the 26th of December and is now operational with a CW beacon sending telemetry on 435.575 MHz and with GMSK on 435.725 MHz. A 30 kHz wide linear transponder listens on 23.870 MHz and sends the inverted spectrum on 435.180 MHz with 20 dBm output. FunCube 1, also known as AO73, is now in telemetry mode in sunlight and silent during eclipse. This will allow the team to gather valuable measurements including energy consumption and battery health in current illumination conditions. Worldwide Special Interest Groups IOTA, AS153, members of the West Bengal Radio Club VU2WB are active with the special call sign AU2GSI from Sagar Island, India between January 9th and 16th. Operations will be on 40, 20 and 15 metres, QSL via VU2JFA or EQSL. NA037. Once again active is KL7FBI from Shemya Island until January 24th. Activity has been heard daily on 40 metres FT8, usually between 0500 and 0700 Zulu. QSL via KB4DMQ. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, YOTA, Youth on the Air Camp preps for June. What are young US ham radio operators planning to do this June? The start of the new year means it's time to start thinking about that. Cell MB KB3TZD presents one option.
The second Youth on the Air Camp for the Americas will be accepting applications for the June 2022 session in just a few weeks. The pilot camp program held in 2021 was such a success that it is returning to the National Voice of America Museum of Broadcasting in Westchester Township, Ohio, on June 12th through 17th. Prospective campers may start applying on February 11th. Applicants must reside in Central, South, or North America. 30 campers will be accepted for the session, and spots will be reserved especially for those who are from the Americas but do not live in the United States. Priority will be given to first-time attendees. Licensed amateurs between the ages of 15 and 25 are eligible to be campers. If COVID-19 restrictions change between now and June, organizers will alert everyone with as much notice as possible. For details, visit youthontheair.org.
Thanks, Heather. We understand starting in 2023, applications to host the camp at various locations throughout the Americas each year will be considered from IARU Region 2 member societies and clubs. I'm Bruce, VK3FFF from sunny Bendigo. Here's Graham, VK4BB.
Completing our news this week, it's the 2022 social scene. January 30, Reist Open Day. February 13, the Spark Rosebud Radio Fest. April 9, Red Fest in VK4. And the June weekend, the Queen's Birthday June weekend in VK5, the Australian Fox Hunting Championship and the SERG Convention. Now till next we meet, I'm Graham, VK4BB. Walk softly.
From Australia, this has been the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on wia.org.au.
Courtesy of Bevan, VK5BD's ATV and YouTube channel, this has been WIA National News. We're back now, live and local, and your voice, your callbacks. And don't forget, tick like.